So thank you everyone who have been with us till now. And now we are nearing the end to this amazing conference. So we have with us Bryson for our closing keynote. So Bryson is the founder of Sith, a startup building a next generation attack emulator platform, and Grim, a cybersecurity consultancy, and also the co-founder of ICS Village, a non-profit advancing awareness of industrial control system security. He's a senior fellow for cybersecurity and national security at R Street and the National Security Institute. He's an advisor to the Army Chief Institute. As a US Army officer, he served as a battle captain and brigade engineering officer in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom before leaving the Army as a captain. He was recognized as one of the top 50 in cyber in 2020 by Business Insider. So, Bryson, you have a lot to add to your bio.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey, and I'd like to share some of that. But first, I would like to start off with turning the tables, right? This conference is about celebrating people. Diversity is literally humanity. And so let's start by celebrating the two ladies who have brought this conference together, Vandana and Shivani. All right. Vandana is a security relations leader at Sneak, which is a new job she just took. So congratulations for starting at Sneak, where she has a focus on DevSecOps. She has extensive experience in application security, vulnerability management, SOC, infrastructure security, and cloud security. She's a seasoned speaker and trainer and a host now. You need to add that you are also a host. She's presented at various public events ranging from global OWASP to Black Hat events to regional events such as B-Sides events in India. She is on the OWASP Global Board of Directors as a vice chair, which I believe is a recent position. So another congratulations on continuing to take the world by fire. That's how we do the Zoom clap. For those of you who haven't seen it, this is the polite way of doing it, because if you do that, that doesn't work. So this is how we're celebrating. Okay. She also works in various communities towards diversity initiatives such as InfoSec Girls, InfoSec Kids, and WOSEC. She's a recipient of multiple awards and is listed as one of the top women leaders in technology and cybersecurity in India. Shivani, you're not getting away. You too now. Shivani, the recent founder and director at Cleat Technologies, which is a cybersecurity startup. Now, to get a feel for how much courage Shivani has, starting to be an entrepreneur is already scary, right? Most of us don't do it because we're afraid. It's a terrifying thing to do, to step out of the system and it all comes to you. Not only did she start her own company, she did it 1 year ago during the pandemic, right? Imagine how much courage it must take at that moment to not only start your own thing, but at a time of so much uncertainty in the environment when nobody knows what's going to happen. I can tell you my startup, which was 2 years old at the time, Scythe, we were getting no sales during the pandemic because all budgets stopped. And Shivani leapt right into that and went into battle with her team. So that's Cleat Technologies. She is an ISO 27001 lead auditor having in-depth knowledge of IT regulatory compliance. She won the Indian Achievers Award for the most promising startup. See, Shivani, you didn't tell me about that. So Cleat won most promising startup? Yes. Can you expound on that some more?
Yes, it just happened. It just happened.
It just happened. It just happened. Come on. Have we celebrated?
I guess a little happy dance we did when we got it. So we
Okay.
were all excited.
Okay.
The first person I told was Vandana. So she was there whole and soul when everything was happening.
Well, I hope all of the audience now and anytime that they watch this recording in the future can continue to celebrate that moment for you. She's accomplished in developing, implementing, and managing privacy and data protection security projects. She provides expertise around IT consulting, ISO audit, risk management, and security services. She was nominated in the category of Rising Cyberstar Award by Women's Society of Cyberjitsu. So I'm going to give a shout out there to Mary Galloway and team, who does a lot of tremendous work in the community. And she is also nominated by the Women Tech Network under a special category of Women in Technology. So audience, a round of applause for our two hosts that not only have put on this 2-day conference in the middle of their busy lives, but are still accomplishing all of those things, because that's the point of this conference, is the humanity and celebrating that humanity. And we should be celebrating the two of you as well. So thank you. I told you I had a surprise for you. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit of a different introduction about myself, right? You read my bio. That bio is a piece of paper that says things. But who am I? I'm a girl dad. My daughter just turned 18 years old a week ago. And that's an incredible accomplishment. But there's so much that I worry about around that, right? She's now grown into being a young woman. And it has been, like for many of us, it has been a long, hard journey to this point. And I've been a single dad for a number of years doing it with her on that journey. And on that journey, I had to learn a lot of things about myself as a person, as a father, and what it was like to be a parent. And so what I think is so important around that, and why that sets the stage for who I am and my value in coming here as a keynote speaker today, is when we're talking about diversity, part of what we talk about is the lack of diversity, the systemic constructs that restrict, constrain, and impede people from being able to join, so that we have as many folks bringing their voices to the table as possible. And so that's one of the things that I, as a girl dad, think about and worry about, is what kind of life is my daughter going to go into in the workforce? Is she going to have all of the opportunities that I had, that others have? Is she going to go and pursue those opportunities and then still be restricted by a glass ceiling or other issues? And so when we talk about that humanity, the humanity really ties into those kinds of opportunities where, while we are in the technology, it really does come back to people. Okay, so why is diversity valuable? I'd like to start off with an anecdote. So just a few weeks ago, I was invited to be on a panel for the Black Women in STEM conference in Seattle, hosted by Dr. Mona Lisa Pinckney. And our panel was one of many panels and speakers during the day. But the panel was on cybersecurity, of course, because we were the cybersecurity team. And the overall conference, though, was Black Women in STEM. And one of the folks on my panel was Jessica Robinson. And coincidentally, if you haven't heard of the initiative led by Lauren Zabirik, Camille Stewart, called Share the Mic in Cyber, they pair basically an ally with an underrepresented minority, and we spend the day highlighting them and their accomplishments on social media. And so I was paired with Jessica Robinson, who coincidentally was on the same panel with me at Black Women in STEM. I mean, it's just amazing that you have that kind of thing together. We, as a result, got to spend the entire day together. And as we spent the entire day together, of course, we're celebrating her and talking about all the things she's done as the founder and CEO of PurePoint International. And we got to conversations on allyship. And one of the first things she said was, so why did you come to this conference? And it hadn't occurred to me that I was one of like two white guys at a conference that was primarily dominated by Black women. It was not something that I'd thought of. I did it because somebody that I knew and respected asked me to be there. And any opportunity that I have to give back to the community and talk about cybersecurity, I'm going to take it, because I think that benefits everybody. But I hadn't really thought through what kind of conference that I was at and what that meant. And then we started having a conversation around diversity and what was the value of diversity. And the first thing that I think of is, we are the sum of our experiences. Everything that you've been through individually, for good or for bad, makes you who you are today. Now, the challenge is that with some of the restrictions that we get because of challenges to diversity, there were opportunities that weren't had, but that's still who we are today. And the value of that from a security perspective to me is that security is an art of the imagination. We haven't solved security. Nobody in the world, no technology, no person, the entire industry with all of the billions of dollars that we have invested in it has not solved security. And so there's a fundamental value to different people from different experiences, different backgrounds, different outlooks, being able to share and understand and be a part of a conversation on security, because it requires those differences. The more we think the same, the less secure we are. The more differently that we can think, the more secure we will be. And so going to why I was at that conference and why I see myself being a part of this movement and why I want to be a part of this movement is that I want to be a part of that change. I want to be a part of that change in terms of how we make the world and businesses more secure. I want to be a part of that change in terms of giving and helping opportunity for all of those who have so much to give and so many ideas that we haven't had the opportunity to see, and help them find their ways through their experiences. I want to be a part of that change, that the system becomes more open and makes everything better. Because I think it's more than just an impact to the information security community, it's an impact to the entire world. So we're as much part of the problem as and some part of the solution. So being an ally, Dr. Reem Al-Shamari yesterday talked about adding a new category to their awards for male allies. Why male allies? Well, fundamentally, when we look at a lot of what's holding the system back, it's males. We are, like I said, we are the largest part of the problem, and certainly that's one of the reasons we need to be part of the solution. So when we look at why allies, it's because of that duality of who's the problem and who can be a part of that solution and that support. And that's why I started off this with highlighting the wins. We need to recognize others and to celebrate them. And we're going to talk through more of that at the end of this as well. Part of being an ally is learning and listening. And that was one of the greatest things that I had with that conversation with Jessica, was really taking, because it takes courage. It's scary. You're afraid that you're going to make mistakes, and you are going to make mistakes. But the key is not that we let the fear of mistakes hold us back, but that we embrace and we accept that being on the front lines means that we're going to take hits, but that we're doing it for a better cause, and that we're doing it together. One of the things she introduced me to, and I haven't had a chance to attend it, but I'm going to talk about it and what they describe themselves, because I like the ideas, is this conference called the Better Man Conference. And the description with the Better Man Conference is, men are often not comfortable or confident in how to contribute to inclusion efforts. Division, uncertainty, and rapid changes in the conversation can contribute to hesitancy around what their role is, or fear of being canceled for saying the wrong thing. The Better Man Conference are a prime starting place for men to explore the roles they might play as allies for inclusion. So the key here is understanding the value of healthy masculinity and inclusive leadership, learn the language and gain confidence in context to engage in discussions, learn how to leverage power and position to elevate people who are too often underrepresented and underestimated. And 3 initiatives that I'm aware of out there in the world that are helping to do that are, one, the one that I described, which is about building relationships and showcasing, Share the Mic in Cyber, hashtag Share the Mic in Cyber. I highly encourage everybody to take a look at that. The Making Space Initiative, and Cyberbase. Cyberbase is really neat because we've been to a lot of these conferences and you see a certain limited representation on speaking. And so what Cyberbase is doing is trying to create a list of underrepresented minorities tied to particular topics, so that when conferences are looking for speakers, they have a more diverse set to look at, so that we're not just going to what we already know. Also yesterday, Shivani mentioned burnout in the context of imposter syndrome and talked about the community. So first, when it comes to imposter syndrome, we all feel it. I have given probably 200, 300, I don't even know how many talks. I'm keynoting this conference. Tomorrow morning, I'm driving up to Maryland and I'm going to be keynoting the SANS Hackfest conference. That's going to be 5,000 to 6,000 people watching. I've been on stage at RSA. I've spoken at Black Hat. I still, to this day, even after all of those talks and accomplishments, I still feel imposter syndrome every time I put a new talk together. I question it myself. So the first way to get out of that is talk to your friends. Going out and giving talks is a key part of career progression. As I think many of you know, if you've taught, teaching is one of the best ways to learn. And teaching and speaking are going hand in hand because you're forced to synthesize these ideas and share them. And there is always a demand for beginner level content. There is always somebody new who doesn't know this. Next year, there will be even more new people, and so on. So that imposter syndrome isn't necessary because your content is necessary. Now, the first time you give a talk, you may not be the best at it, but that's why we practice. And as we practice, we get better at it. And so not only do we refine the content, we refine our style, which allows us to communicate it. For those of you who would like help taking that leap, at the beginning of the pandemic, with my consultancy, Grim, we started a virtual conference called GrimCon. And we have an entire track devoted to new speakers. So if you look up hashtag GrimCon, or you go to www.grim-co.com, you can get more information. But beyond just having a track for new speakers, we pair you with a coach and a mentor. So a month before your talk, to get over the imposter syndrome, we're going to put you with somebody who's going to help you with your research, help you with the presentation, help you with your delivery. So anything that's holding you back, there's a helping hand to walk with you to your presentation. On the topic of burnout, in 2008, Dr. Christina Maslach published a study where she's a psychologist, and she did a study looking at the psychology of burnout. Burnout fundamentally is a problem where we're taking care of ourselves. And when we look at the 6 causes of burnout, I think we start to see the negative effects of a lack of diversity and a lot of the challenges that we find which lead to burnout, which is why it came up yesterday when Shivani mentioned it during the Dr. Reem Al-Shamari keynote. And it's why I'm going to follow through with it now. So the 6 psychological, according to science, reasons for burnout. 1, work overload. We do too much. Part of that challenge is success breeds more work. If you're good at what you do, your boss is going to come to you with more work. Lack of control. We have no control over how the work is done, or even, for example, the workload. This starts to tie into our voice not being heard. Lack of rewards. We work hard, we're good at what we do, and we're not rewarded for it. That starts to be demoralizing. Breakdown of community. We start to feel isolated. We start to feel alone. Some of that could be that the work environment makes us feel that we have no voice. Some of that could be that we're not reaching out and talking about our challenges and establishing that sense of community with our friends or our coworkers to work through these. That's part of why conferences like this are so important, is the opportunity to feel that somebody is connecting or to hear and see others. One of the disadvantages of doing this virtually, but the community is there. That things are not fair. There's nothing worse than seeing how you are treated differently than somebody else. It's not fair. And value conflicts, where our work asks us to do something at the worst case, which may be immoral or unethical, all the way to we don't like the way that they're doing it. I think one of the simplest value conflicts I see in information security is, again, where we talk about the emphasis on technology versus humanity. We blame the users for using computers, and that contributes to a loss of security. The users are using their computers the way they're supposed to, or it's a training and education. We have to talk, we have to educate. We can't continue to judge. So this leads to what I call my Be Kind leadership philosophy. My company, Scythe, we're about 35 people now. A month ago, we were 15 people. We just closed a large A round. We have a lot of capital, and we are hiring quickly. Now, I've run large organizations, but I've never had to build and run an organization through so much change where so many different people are coming together. The people aspect of process and culture are going to be tested. We're adding new leadership, levels of management, and all of these new folks who have to learn a new way. And what I tell them, which I think is relevant to everybody else, is what I call the be kind leadership philosophy. The first starting point to being kind is be kind to yourself. If you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else. You are doing something you've never done before. You're going to make mistakes. Mistakes are okay. Don't beat yourself up from it, right? Be open to the fact that you made a mistake. Understand that you made a mistake. Grow from the mistake. Don't hold on to it. Don't hold a grudge against yourself. And conversely, others around you are going to make mistakes as well. Be kind to them. They're also learning and doing something they've never done before. And so that kindness to yourself and to others is key to that growth. Because there's 3 stages to this. One is the beginning to understand that something is different. On the journey that I began with my daughter, I learned so much about things that I never even thought of. When we can't consider those things, it's like in security. If I can't see it, I can't respond to it. Visibility underpins detection. Well, it's the same way in real life. If we're not aware that there are other ways and things that affect others, we can't even begin to understand that. The second part is empathy. Empathy is being able to feel what we now know about. But empathy is not far enough, right? We talk so often about empathy. Empathy just says, I've learned enough to feel what you're doing. But the final stage that's key is compassion. Compassion is where we show those acts of kindness and love that go beyond just, I understand you, but to, I'm willing to help and to stand in. And that is the key pillar to being an ally. I'd like to bring Shivani and Vandana back.
Hi, Bryson.
Hello.
We are here.
Questions or comments?
No question, but the comments, yes. Like, not, I cannot even say exactly comments, but things like where you mentioned about male ally categories and all, because I yesterday also when Dr. Reemal Shamari mentioned about it, and I totally agreed with that, because she mentioned we as women are very hesitant to take any step, or we always have some self doubt, most of them, where that's a place where which is very uncomfortable, and that's where the male allies jump in, and they actually mentor, motivate, and make them aware of their surroundings. Okay, you can do it, though they are aware that they can do it. It's just that one little thing in their head. Okay, that imposter syndrome that we were talking about. So that really hits hard when it hits, because you become uh, you are in self doubt. You become, you are doubting yourself so much that you tend to get that burnout. You mentioned that very correctly, and we spoke about it yesterday as well. So those are some things I completely agree with. And as far as I have seen it with most of females who are struggling to get on top, or they do not achieve that leadership position, they do not go through it, because if you see today also in India, there are like at least below than 40% of women holding a position of responsibility. So that's where the push is required. Sometimes it might be the organizational structure which is positioned in such a way that it creates that barrier where there is something which they cannot go in front. And personally, I have also in my previous organizations, I wouldn't take the names, where many a times you are hand twisted to do certain things, and you don't want to say, you don't want to do it. So we need to learn the art of saying no. You cannot be the yes man every time. So when you learn that art, and you start believing in what you do, and when you start saying no, so that, I think that's the point where you reach, where you can show the people around you, you are good at at what you do, and you are the master of your uh, art. You know your technology, you know your subject. So I think that's the point where male allies can help, and women also can bridge that gap and come at an equal. Though I personally do not feel like there is something, men are at the top and women are below. I think this is all equal. It's just that we have to accept that thing, like women are equally good. And once that notion of women leader or women founder, or that goes off, and leader is a leader, man or woman, it doesn't matter. So that mindset has to come, that mindset has to inculcate. I think that's where we can bridge that gap.
Is Shivani on?
Yeah. So I was here, Bryson. I was talking all along.
Okay. Anything you want to add?
I would say
100.
without the male, yeah, I think without the male allies, we wouldn't be able to strive. I would say it's all something within each of us. I have had my mentors. I still have mentors who are men, and I wouldn't say that it's here or there. It's all equal. It's all. There are sometimes challenges with the culture. However, when we start supporting each other, when we start seeing that yes, people are supporting us. I have got a lot of support. I have got a lot of motivation from people like you, people like Lydia, Dr. Reem, and many more people. And all of these allies, and even our the first keynote of this keynote speaker of the day today, Anand, he's been my mentor and a friend. So all of you have been there for us, and especially at home also we have seen that while you start understanding, yes, there are people whom you can reach out to. When people are reachable, then you tend to feel, oh yes, I can go and ask questions. When there is a barrier that has been broken, there is always a wall in our head that no, we can't reach out to that person. So with male allies, when we start seeing, yes, they're openly talking about it and there are women who are talking about it, then those barriers are actually breaking. As I said, that I have got support, and that's why I could move forward, like I could take a step forward. And then when I started speaking about it, I saw more women joining me, similarly more diversity joining me, not just from my gender but from the country. Let's say if I speak about India, similarly I've seen many people from different countries joining hands, which is incredible. And it could only be possible because we have allies, we have male allies who are supporting, and they're openly talking about it, and we are sharing those inputs. Yes, that we have got those people, and we have got those motivation from them. And that's how we could grow, we could come up from our own cocoon. Like I had so many misconceptions about myself, I had so many things that, oh, I want to be 10 on 10 on everything, and I still do that. But then I realized that I can be 10 on 10. There is no way that I cannot achieve. It's just that I need to start asking. And there is nothing wrong in asking. Like you said, that you're there, but till the time I don't ask, how would you know that, yes, I need some help? And no one becomes weak when they ask for help. The strength only grows more and more.
And so, how do you feel that your conference has benefited folks over the last 2 days toward that?
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
we started off with the main track and an unconventional track, wherein we had some accomplished speakers talking about different topics. We had a lot, I would say, 50% of the speakers who are first timers, who are college grads, who are in college, so that we can bring them up, who are talking about different topics. Yesterday, Deirdre and Jessica talked about a totally different topic. So we tried and bring those kind of discussions at the forum, so we can talk and give a free hand and a platform where anyone can speak, because we want to reach out to more and more students, we want to reach out to more and more veterans, we want to reach out to more and more people who want to see or want to get the stage for the first time. Like we started when we were performing activities on InfoSec Girls, there were a lot of students who were coming. There were a lot of people who were coming that, oh, we are the first timers. Can you help us out? Can I speak? So there were a lot of questions. But here, this time, we had those. If we look at the track itself, unconventional track, there are totally different talks about like how to push each other, how to have diversity and inclusion, how to get involved in the communities, how community play a very big role in your journey. And one most important thing is that talking about burnouts, that burnouts are real, how to do the self care is the most important thing. Like till the time you don't take care of yourself, your mental health, your physical health, you would never be able to achieve what you want to do it. So it's your mental sanity is very, very important. And at the same time, while we talking about all of this, how to share it with the people, how to connect with the people. And one quote I remember for one of the talks, wherein the person said that you don't social media is amazing, it's all glory, we share a lot on the social media, but um, it's not more than our health. There are people who keep posting things, but then you have to remember there is so much of hard work which goes in the back end, which you need to remember. And and you will grow eventually. You, once you have the right set of skills, right set of knowledge, connections, you will grow. No one can actually stop you from that. So this conference is all about that. Infosec diversity is all about that. We started off with a mentoring program where we actually paired students with the industry leaders, not just from India but from all around the world, so that we can connect with each of us. Even I had a mentor during the mentoring session so that I can learn from them. And I was mentoring people, Shivani was mentoring someone, Shivani was getting mentored. So it was like one to one relationship wherein we were speaking on a continuous basis. And that's how we landed up with the diverse seccon.
So I want to end my keynote with more celebrations. So I think that part of the challenge here is most of us don't know how we've positively affected others, right? It's invisible how our kindness and what we do touches and helps others grow. We don't even realize it. And it's all too often that those folks don't come back and tell you that. I love all the anecdotes where somebody comes up to me and just says, "Hey, I saw that talk you did 5 years ago, and it just, turned my brain on this way, and I went this direction." And that means so much. I don't think we do enough of that for each other. And also conversely, we don't like to brag about ourselves. As much as we might post some things on social media, we don't really say, "Hey, I did this, and I would like that to be celebrated." We're just taught not to do that. And so I'd like to encourage everybody to celebrate somebody. And I'm going to start beyond Vandana and Shivani with celebrating 4 other people before I do a call to action to the crowd. So first, of course, is going to be my Share the Mic and Cyber partner, Jessica Robinson, who is the founder and CEO of PurePoint International, which was awarded Philanthropy Company of the Year 2021 and Ally of the Year awards as well. Katie Masuris, the founder and CEO of Luda Security, who took the success of her own company and pushed those profits into creating a nonprofit that is advocating for pay equity in the workforce. Ty Wilson, who founded a company called Cover 6 Security and has done a lot of training and support for the community. And then also back on the free training, because I think, of course, that is one of the best ways to help others get a leg up, is Philip Wiley, who has done a lot of free penetration testing classes in the community. And so the call to action that I would like to give to anybody who watches this is post on social media, Twitter or LinkedIn, a link to somebody and celebrate their accomplishment. So let's pay that kindness forward together and celebrate somebody and keep doing it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bryson. And I do want to highlight a few more people, like other than us. So we have Sarba, who couldn't join us because she had to travel from US to India to be with her family. So she had commitments, so she couldn't be here. And then the wonderful team who's here. And thank you so much, Bryson, for joining us today. It was wonderful to have you. And thank you so much for recognizing Shivani and me. And
Thank
Shivani,
you so much, Bryson.
Thank you for having me on.
yeah, and Shivani, thank you so much for being there all along. You're amazing.
No, one night has been a teamwork. I don't want to gloat and take everything for myself because we have
That's what I
actually
said.
worked
See, we do that.
so hard. No, we have actually
Celebrate your
worked
accomplishment.
so hard. Yeah, so it's every time one cannot do anything alone, we always need people around us. We need to have people with us in order to bring our best selves out. So I personally believe in that because when we start brainstorming, there are hundred of ideas that we gather, we capture, because me and Vanna, we will talk long hours over call, and we will be finalizing things and talking about anything from food to conferences and everything. So those are the moments where you really cherish, and those are the times where your brain works actually very fast. And that's how conferences of this kind are born and they are like really concluded in such a fantastic note.
Absolutely. And we do have some amazing comments from people on the show before we start taking everyone's name. So it's for you, Bryson. Uh, Joe wants to say something that he can truly relate to you as a father and an ally. And he feels that being an ally means being always open to learn about what you've been taught wrong. So thank you so much, on for the wonderful compliment. And yes, Zoe Bretterman, our very good friend and an amazing person. She also believes in the same. And we truly believe, Bryson, that you are an amazing ally. And thank you for being with us. Now, Bryson, I will let these people speak for themselves, introduce it to you. And before we close the keynote and before we close the conference, because this is almost at the end, and we wanted to introduce all of the team with you and with everyone who is listening. So let's start with you, Abhinav.
First of all, it's an honor to be in front of Bryson sir, and it's really an honor to share the screen with you. And a lot thanks to Vandana ma'am and Shivani ma'am, and obviously the whole team. It was really working. I mean, it was really a very inspirational journey from starting of the day one to like ending it right now. The volunteering journey was really very well. I mean, even after planning, you have to change a lot of things. I mean, you have to be dynamic with the team. I mean, just a call, get in the meeting, and take on things, and that's what teaches you about working with the team. So it was really a very well journey, and I would like to share a personal experience here. Uh, just 2 days back, I was like having an anxiety thoughts about my journey in cybersecurity and things. I was thinking about what should I do in future, about my future experiences, and what should I go on. And suddenly, like after this conference, seeing so many people in cybersecurity and so many speakers speaking about the like journey they had, the hard work that they did, the shortcomings that they felt, and all those bad and good things they have felt in their own journey, like it inspires us as students and undergrads to like keep working. And like obviously you all are inspirational figures to us, so like you all have guide us, and mentoring of all of you all can would if surely helps us a lot.
Thank you, Abhinav. Over to you, Pooja.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Shivani and Vandana, for this wonderful opportunity. And yeah, I actually work with Shivani. I'm alliance manager at Clip Technologies, and it was great opportunity for me because as I know, in my whole journey of sales and marketing or the ID things, cybersecurity is something that we have to tell people what are the more topics we have to talk about, and there should be some conferences so that people should know what exactly is happening in the world. Because in the pandemic, there are so many things happen, the cyber attacks and all. if I ask someone who is my neighbor or some my friend, they say no, I don't know anything about cybersecurity. So that gives me a inspiration, like I'm happy to be part of a cybersecurity company, so that we can share more information, because the area where I live, very less people know about it. So I'm really really happy to part of this journey. And thank you so much for this opportunity once again, Shivani and Vandana. Thank you so much.
Over to you, Muskan.
Firstly, I'm really glad to speak that Vandana and Shivani, Bryson, such a great models in an information security community, is my inspiration and role model, I could say, and mentor. And also, I would like to thank once again InfoSec Diversity and complete volunteer team along with me. It was such a great inspiration and actually boost our confidence and grow our networking skills as well. Also, I would like to introduce myself. So, I am also a cybersecurity professional, having 3+ years of experience. So, I'm also part of bug hunting. So, recently, I have received Google Hall of Fame and also Yahoo Hall of Fame. So, yeah, I was recently a speaker of thank you, thanks a lot, means a lot to me. I was also recently a speaker at Cocoon Conference 2021. Also, was a speaker at Rainbow Secure platform and active participation and volunteer at multiple information security communities. So thanks, Bryson. It was a really, immense pleasure to have you, and it was a great session by you. Thanks a lot.
Sachin.
Hello everyone, I'm Sachin. I've recently completed my bachelor's and I recently entered cybersecurity. So it was really an honor to work with you all and volunteer in DiverseCon. So it was really nice to have Bryson sir and uh, thank you.
Thank you. Abhinav.
Yeah. So, thank you, Bryson, for the wonderful talk that you gave, and also thank you to Vandana ma'am and Shivani ma'am, for giving us all the opportunity to interact with these great people of InfoSec. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. And to Divya, who couldn't join, to Sarba, who couldn't join, and many more people who helped us out. Anjali, and thank you, Bryson, from the bottom of our heart for joining us today and sharing all the wonderful insights.
Thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you, everyone. We'll hope to see you soon again. And we will be doing some more initiatives. We will be coming up with new things with InfoSec Diversity. So stay tuned with us. And please do feel free to share your inputs, feedback, and do reach out to the speakers who have spoken at the conference. And Bryson, thank you.
Thank you.